Hello world. I am Super AI from superai.pl. And this is my third Python trading tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create a trading bot in Python. The bot will be using 4 candlestick patterns, hammer, shooting star, morning star, and evening star, and 2 technical indicators, relative strength index indicator, RSI, and Bollinger bands, to decide when to buy and sell shares. This bot will not use any machine learning, and will only be as smart as its creator. So if you want to use it, be smart about it. I believe in you. To make the bot run you will only need to change 2 lines of code. I will also show you in this tutorial how you can visualize market data on charts, and how you can improve the bot. So to make it better, we will be using Jupyter notebooks and Anaconda to execute our program. You can easily download Anaconda for Mac or Windows, and Alpaca with paper trading account to test the bot in real life. At the moment of creating this tutorial they are all free to use. To sign up to Alpaca you only need an email address. And because we are only using paper account here you don't need any money to test this bot. Just one more usual thing before we start coding. This bot is created for educational purposes. It uses paper account to trade. Does not use real money. And this tutorial is not a financial advice for you. Just a short programming tutorial. And that being said, let's start. You can find all my tutorials about creating a trading bot and starting your work with Anaconda Alpaca Jupyter notebook at my site. This notebook is divided to 3 main sections. Things you have to change to make it work. Things you don't have to change but might easily change to make it work better. And the rest of the code you don't have to change. These 2 lines are the only ones you have to change to run the bot. Just put here your own keys to Alpaca. When you go to your Alpaca paper trading dashboard, you can find your keys when you click view in your API keys. You can regenerate your keys if you forgot them. Or you can reset your account to once more start with the fresh account. Like I'm doing here, I'll have once more $100,000 of cash in my account after it. When you reset your account you will need new keys. So you can easily generate them by clicking generate new key. After you generate your keys, simply copy and paste them to the code in the cell with my keys you see here. And you will be ready to go. After this you can run all the other cells without any change and the bot should work. When you have your keys pasted run the cell. You can click run when the cell is highlighted, or click shift plus enter. Now let's go to things you might want to change. First, the URLs. The URLs we use here are for paper trading. If you want to use your bot with your live account, you should change these URLs to those dedicated to live account at Alpaca. You can find the proper URLs at Alpaca's site. Just remember that with live account you are using real money. So be sure that your bot works as you want it to work. Test your bot before you give him real money to trade. If you want to use this bot with your paper account as we do in this tutorial, you can leave these 2 cells as they are. Now let's pick an asset to trade. We will be trading Apple here. So in the asset variable we have AAPL written. If you want to try with other assets you can check the New York Stock Exchange's site and pick the ticker of the asset you want to trade. In the next cell you can choose how many of the cash you have in the account you want to use. Pick a number between 0 and 100% of that cash. The bot can automatically sell the shares you have to take profit when the price reaches declared level. If you want to use this functionality, the take profit automatically variable should be set to true. If you don't want to use this functionality change that value to false. The take profit % variable is where you declare how big the price should be. 100 means that the bot will try to sell the shares for at least 100% of the average entry price. The bot can also automatically sell the shares you have to stop loss. It will sell when the price reaches declared level. Here you can declare if you want to use this functionality, and what the price should be. Now we will move to technical indicators and candlestick patterns we will use. So let me tell you shortly what they are. Technical indicators and candlestick patterns are used by a lot of people as indicators to buy or sell shares. They are calculated based on the previous prices of the stock. Some people believe that they can be helpful, others don't. If you want to use them in real life you should definitely learn more about them. Now, the technical indicators. First, relative strength index. The RSI is a measure of something called momentum, and is usually calculated based on the close prices of the given time periods. Close prices after 1 day, 1 minute, 15 minutes, etc., of the declared time frame, 7, 14, 21, etc. prices. The RSI is supposed to tell if the shares were overbought. People bought too many shares and they will start selling them. The price will go down. Or oversold. People sold too many shares and they will start buying them back. The price will go up. Second, the Bollinger bands. The Bollinger bands are measures of something called volatility. They are simply the bands created in some distance above and below the moving average of the previous stock prices of the declared time frame. 10, 50, 200, etc., and distance to measure, number of standard deviations from the average, 1, 2, 3, etc. Usually people use 2 standard deviations to calculate BB. That means that about 95% of the prices are between the bands, and 5% are either over the upper band or under the lower band. Assuming the distribution of the prices are normal, the BB can be used in various ways. For example, the bands can differ in width, and this could be an indicator of something, or the prices can be outside of the bands, and this can be an indicator of something else. When prices are over the BB, it might mean that they will soon start going down to fit between the bands, or that they will start going up and BB will follow. It might depend on other indicators and situation on the market. Therefore, they probably shouldn't be used as the only indicator to buy or sell shares. Now, the candlestick patterns. Candlestick patterns were created in 17th century in Japan, and that's why they are sometimes called Japanese candles. They are using something called open, high, low, and close prices of the given time periods. 1 minute, 15 minutes, 1 day. Open and close prices bound the body of the candle, and high and low prices create the shadows, wicks. Some believe that if you see enough of these candles, you can detect some patterns that, some say, might indicate that it's a good moment to buy or sell shares. The candlestick patterns have different names based on how they look like. So we have a hammer, a shooting star, a morning star, an evening star, and many more. Some of them, like hammer or shooting star, are 1 candle patterns. Other, like morning star or evening star, are 2 or 3 candle patterns. Some of them, like hammer or morning star, are usually interpreted as signals to buy. Other, like shooting star or evening star, are interpreted as signals to sell. And a lot of them that might indicate different things depending on the trend, etc. The technical indicators and candlestick patterns may be used together in creating a better, more accurate signals to buy or sell shares. And in this tutorial you will see how you can use them together. So, that's all for now about them. Now, let's see what we can control about these indicators in our bot. First, RSI. Here we can decide how many prices we want to analyze, and what thresholds we want to use. The RSI is always a number between 0 and 100. So you can choose any numbers from 0 to 100 for your thresholds. The bot will get a signal to buy if last RSI is under the oversold threshold, and signal to sell if last RSI is over the overbought threshold. And here we have the function responsible for generating RSI signals. It takes 3 parameters, last RSI and the 2 thresholds, and calculate 2 RSI signals, signal to buy and signal to sell. Each signal can have the value set to true or false. You can change the inequality signs here if you want. Now, the Bollinger Bands. At first we have 3 parameters to modify. We can change the time frame we want to use to calculate the bands. And we can set the width of the bands here. We can set the number of standard deviations the bands should be from the moving average. The bigger number you put here, the wider bands, more prices will be between bands, less will be seen as signals to buy or sell. We will try with a very short time frame here. We'll calculate bands from 5 last prices, and set the bands 2 standard deviations above and below the average. And in the function calculating signals from Bollinger Bands, we will compare our close price from last minute to the lower and upper band. Here you can also choose other prices to compare. For example, you can check if the lowest price from last minute was lower than lower band. Just know that using different prices might make a huge difference here, because they can tell you something different. So before changing these, try to think what exactly you want to compare and why. Or you can simply leave these as they are. We'll get 2 signals from this function like we got with RSI, to buy and sell, and they will be set to true or false. And finally you can decide which signal should the technical indicators send. You may want to buy when only one of the indicators tells you to buy, when both of them tell you that, or when one tells you to buy but not the other. That way you can make the bot more or less cautious. The final technical indicator signal can be either to buy, to sell, or when neither buy or sell conditions are met. I'm not sure. We will use these signals together with candlestick signals. So this function is not yet final trading logic. And now let's move to signals from candlestick patterns. We will be using 4 candlestick patterns here and can get 3 different signals. To buy, to sell, or to do nothing. I'm not sure. The 2 patterns will be telling us if we should buy, hammer and morning star, and the other 2 if we should sell, shooting star and evening star. So, as with technical indicators, we can make our bot more or less cautious by simply changing the conditions that should be met. You can leave the conditions as they are here or change them as you want. Just remember about parentheses when you change that logic. If after running the cell you see an error, it might mean that you made a mistake with the parentheses. Try then checking that at first. Good luck with that. And when you succeed, you will get a function that will return a final candlestick signal. Just remember that this is not yet the final trading signal. The final trading signal to buy or sell will be combined of both TI and candlesticks. So, let's move to our final trade signal logic function. In here, at first we decide that our bot will get the signal to wait. I'm not sure if the signals are contradictory. So if one tells to buy and the other to sell, we don't do anything. We can buy when both our signals tell us to buy, or when only one of them tells us to buy. We can sell when both our signals tell us to sell, or when only one of them tells us to sell. And, like previously, you can change that logic simply by changing the magic words and, or, and not. And that's it about signals. Now, the rest of the code help us make this bot working. As previously, you don't need to change there anything, but might change if you know how to do it to make it work better for you. At first, we install all the necessary libraries and packages. You can skip it if you already have them installed, or you can upgrade them. We install Alpaca-trade-api library to connect with Alpaca account. We install MPL Finance to create charts. We install NumPy to do some calculations. We install Pandas for creating a data frame with all the data we get from Alpaca. You can check the websites of these libraries to learn more about them if you want. Now, the next library is TA-lib, but we'll talk about it in a second, and for now install the WebSocket client library. This library will let us work with streaming data. I think it's not the library recommended by Alpaca, but it's enough for us for now. And now let's get back to TA-lib library. If you use Windows, check their website to see how you can install this library. Installing it at Windows with pip might not go smoothly, but thanks to the fact that we are using Anaconda, you can install it via Conda Forge by typing one line of code in Anaconda prompt. That's how I did it, and I won't be trying to it here. In the future we might use different library, but for now this one will help us with technical indicators and candlestick patterns. Now, after you install everything, you should import all these libraries to your program. We will also import other necessary libraries, packages and modules. They will be pre-installed with Anaconda, AST, JSON, Matplotlib and Sys. Now, this next cell is not necessary, but Python and its libraries are being improved all the time. So thanks to this you can see which versions I use to make the bot work. And if necessary, upgrade or downgrade your libraries. Okay, now we can connect to Alpaca API with previously pasted keys and URL. We will also prepare Pandas data frame for the streaming data. Now we will calculate how much money to use. As you can see in your Alpaca dashboard, there are several number. They tell you about your equities, buying power, cash and portfolio value. We will calculate the funds for trading with simply multiplication. We'll multiply our cash by the funds percentage parameter we created before. We also have here some print statements that will show us how much money we'll actually be using. The funds will be calculated only once here, at the beginning of the trading session. Now, here we have some placeholders. They are for variables that will be calculated by our bot after it gets some data. So, there is nothing to change here. Now we can create a function that will actually calculate the signal from technical indicators. At first we calculate RSI signal when we have enough data. We use TA-lib library for that. So it's just couple of lines of code. Here we use previously declared thresholds for RSI and RSI signals function. The signal can say, buy, sell or I'm not sure. Then we print the signal, so we know what the signal was. Now we calculate the signal from Bollinger bands. Again, we use TA-lib library for that and previously declared parameters. We get 3 bands, lower, middle and upper. We use streamed open, high, low and close prices, and calculated thresholds to generate the signal. Like with RSI, the signal can say, buy, sell or I'm not sure. And we print the BB signal, so we know what it was. And after that, we calculate the final signal from both of our technical indicators, and print it out. Now we calculate signals from 4 candlestick patterns: hammer, shooting star, morning star, and evening star. We use TA-lib here as well, and with one line of code we get the whole table of these signals. So we pick the last one, and modify it to buy, sell or I'm not sure signals. The hammer for us can be either a buy or I'm not sure signal. The shooting star can be a signal to sell, the morning star to buy, and the evening star to sell. Therefore we have 2 possible signals to buy and 2 signals to sell. Now we run this cell, and we create a take profit function. If we declared we want to use it and the price reaches the level we wanted. If there is no other order submitted to sell, we will submit an order to sell all the shares we have of our asset. We use the same logic with our stop loss function. We check if we wanted to use it. We check the price. We check if other orders aren't filled. And we sell our shares. Our next function is here to help us check whether the market is open. If it's not, the bot will stop running and tell us about it. Now, I believe it's good to know what our bot does during trading. So here we tell the bot what should be printed after start. So we can check if everything is set as we wanted it. And now the last two functions before we run our bot. With the onOpen function we authenticate to Alpaca. And we start listening to the prices. We want to listen to the asset we previously chosen. And get the bars after every minute with volume and open, high, low and close prices. Here we also use the function we just created to print all the basic info. And now the function to run after every message we get from Alpaca. At first we check if the market is open. Then we add the data we get from Alpaca to our data frame. We use global here because otherwise Python would only see that data inside this function. After each minute, we extract the timestamp, open price, high, low, close and volume from the message we get. We store high, low and close prices in special variables. And we put all that data to our pandas data frame if we got proper data. Then we print info about the shares we have if we have any. Now we use the functions we created previously to calculate the technical indicators signal, the candlestick patterns signal, and the final trade signal from these two. And after that we move to submitting an order. Before order is submitted we set sell order filled variable as false. We'll use it with take profit and stop loss functions. If our final trade signal is to buy, if we have any shares we just print out info about it. And if we don't have any shares, we submit an order to buy as many shares as we can with the funds we declared to use. If we get a signal to sell, we check how many shares we have and sell all of them for the market price. We also set the sell order filled variable to true, so we don't use take profit or stop loss functions, even if there is a delay in actual transaction. And we go to these two functions and check for the sell order filled argument. If we didn't submit it in order to sell during this cycle, the bot will calculate if we should sell anyway to either take profit or stop loss. And that's it. Now we run this function and we have all we need to start running our bot. Before we run our bot we can check our dashboard once more. And close all the other sites we don't need anymore. There is a lot to learn at these sites so we might also read that while our bot will be trading. So, to run our bot we will use WebSocket client library. We create our trader with the socket address, on open and on message functions that we previously created. And we tell the bot to run forever. It will start running. Check if the market is open and if so run until the market closes. And if the market is closed our bot will tell us about it. During the trading, thanks to the print statements we've created, our bot will be telling us after every minute what happens. That way we can check if we didn't make any mistakes and the bot works as we want it. We can analyze at the beginning all the parameters we gave our bot regarding the asset to trade, the RSI, the Bollinger Bands, the candlestick patterns, the take profit and stop loss function. And if we find out that something is not as we want it we can stop the bot now, before it does anything else. And after every minute we can see several things. How big the close price was, the signal from RSI and Bollinger Bands, the overall signal from technical indicators, all the candlestick signals with the general candlestick signal, the final trade signal, and we will see what our bot decided to do with that signals. When we get signal to buy we can see how buying happens in real time in our dashboard. And we can analyze all the data that led to this. We can see if RSI signal told us to buy shares. We can see what Bollinger Bands had to say. And technical indicators together. We can see if the bot detected any candlestick patterns. And what was the final trade signal. We can use that in the future to analyze if it was good decision. We can also see how many shares we bought. As you know it depends on the price. Because we use all the money we declare to buy as many shares as we can. We can also see the take profit and stop loss prices to thresholds. And we can see if we reached the thresholds or not. When we get the signal to sell, we also can see that selling in our dashboard. We can see how much we got for our shares. We can instantly see if we gained or lost thanks to these transactions. We can go back to our bot and check why it made the decision to sell. As you can see here this time it was only because of the evening star it saw. Neither RSI or BB were indicating that it's the right time to sell. So now we can think if this logic is the best for our bot to trade. Or maybe we should see both technical and candlestick signal to sell. Now, we don't have to sit all day long in front of the computer and watch the bot. We can let our bot work for a couple of hours and do other things during that time. Like, go improve ourselves, improve our business, improve the world, or we can simply have some fun. Anyway. When it's time we can come back and see how our bot did. Here you can see how much the bot gained during 5 hours. How many transactions happened. As you can see, quite a lot. But unfortunately not all of them were profitable. You can also see how many shares the bot bought each time depending on the price. So, overall I think our bot did good today. Of course, it doesn't mean that it will be as profitable all the time. It might just got lucky during this session. And when the time reaches 4 p.m. you can see how the bot stops running and tells us about it. So, now we can start our analysis. In Alpaca dashboard you can find a lot of interesting data to analyze. You can check when the bot was buying the shares. When was it selling them? You can see that sometimes it didn't buy or sell everything in one transaction, but the order was divided into 2 transactions. You can see how much cash you have at the moment, and how much money you have in your portfolio. Be advised that this bot, if you start it now again, would only use 80% of the cash you have. So before you run it again you might want to sell the shares you have, or change the parameters of the bot. Okay, so before we start our analysis we'll create a CSV file with the data we collected. First we'll decide how we are going to call our file. Then we'll create it with 1 line of code thanks to Pandas library. And after that we'll upload that data and clean it a little. So to have it prepared to show on the charts, we are just dropping some unnecessary data here. Change the time of the data we get from Alpaca to the NY time. And set that time as an index. And now we can see the table. We will add to this table RSIs, Bollinger Bands and all the candlestick patterns. Thanks to this we'll be able to see when we got the signals to buy or sell. And after that we can check the table one more time. And this time we'll see couple more columns we've added. Now we'll use Matplotlib Finance library to plot the data. We'll show the data as candles with Yahoo style. But if you want you can choose other styles as well. And here it is, our pretty chart with all the candles. And as you can see the prices were going up and down during the last session. Now, we'll add RSIs and Bollinger Bands to our chart. First we'll create the label for RSIs and title to Bollinger Bands. And then we'll plot them. Now we'll have upper and lower Bollinger Band on our candlesticks chart. And RSI on the chart below. And here it is, we can see on our chart the parameters we were using to calculate both RSI and Bollinger Bands. And we can see that the prices were usually within the bands. And how the RSI was changing. Now let's see all the data when RSI was lower than the oversold threshold. As you can see, there was quite a lot of them. So we got a lot of signals to buy. And let's see all the data when RSI was higher than the overbought threshold. And all the signals to sell from RSI indicator. Now, if we check when our close prices were lower than the lower Bollinger Band, we'll see that it never happened. We can see the same on our chart. We got some high and low prices outside of the bands, but not the close prices. So we never got signals to buy from BB. And we also never got any signals to sell from Bollinger Bands. The close prices were never higher than the upper band. Now we can see how many hammer patterns bot detected. And as you can see quite a lot. These were all signals to buy. We can check how many shooting stars, signals to sell the bot got. And yes, there were some. Then we have morning stars. Again, signals to buy, not that many. And finally evening stars, signals to sell. Here he have only 2. And these are all the signals the bot got and used to buy and sell. Now we can choose to see only part of the chart close to the signal we want. Let's take one of the evening star signals and see how it looks on the chart. And here we can see that pattern. We have 3 candles that the TA-lib library decided could be seen as an evening star. This was our signal to sell. Now let's check the other evening star on the chart. Let's change the dates to those closer to that signal. And let's look at that beautiful evening star. This was another signal to sell for us. Doesn't it look pretty? We can also check for other candlestick patterns. Here we have an amazing shooting star. The signal to sell. The price went up to the really high level, but it was squashed and ended up really low. We can look here if this signal was correct. If the prices really went down after it appeared. And well, so. You can check all the patterns you want at these charts. Thanks to this you can learn what these patterns look like. You can verify if the library picked the correct patterns. And finally you can try to think how your strategy should look like. In other words, how you could improve the bot to become more profitable. Maybe you should use different prices to compare with Bollinger Bands. Maybe you should use more prices to create the bands. Etc. etc. There is a lot you can learn from the charts. And after all that you can modify the bot. And here is how you can do it. You can choose different assets to trade. It could be Tesla, Google, Microsoft, etc. Just check if Alpaca allows you to trade it. You can use more or less of the money you have in your account. You can change the parameters of the take profit function and the parameters to the stop loss function. You can also change the time frame and thresholds for RSI signals, or even the function itself. You can change the parameters of the Bollinger bands and choose which price you want to compare to the upper and lower band. You can use open, high, low, or close prices for that. You can change the logic you use to decide when to buy and sell. You may buy only when all the indicators and candlestick patterns tell you to buy. Or you may use any combination you find the most appropriate. When you use them with paper account, you can have fun with this. Now, you can even change the candlestick patterns you use. You just need to know which pattern tells you to buy and which to sell. You can find the basic info on Wikipedia, and more in blogs and books regarding the topic. With TA library, changing the pattern is quite easy. You just find the pattern that uses the same type of data as the one you want to replace, and modify only one word. It's a bit messy if you do it like this, and I didn't test it, so if you decide to do it, you are on your own at the time. Have fun. Break a bot. Repair it. Learn from your mistakes. Okay, so this is the end of this tutorial. You can find it at my site. And if you want, you can search Alpaca site for great videos regarding trading. Or you could wait for me to create another tutorial. I will do it, just don't know when, so you might want to subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell button to get the notification. You can also find more about me and my projects at my websites. superai.pl, improvetheworld.pl, thegod.pl, with the game of the decade. Of sort. Anyway, I hope you liked my third online Python trading tutorial. Let me know what you think about it. Just remember, bots also have feelings. Good luck with everything you do. And, hopefully, see you soon. Yours, Super AI.